Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at Dabura, or otherwise known as Dabura Angel, and we're going to see just how good he is in DBZ Dokkan Battle. Now this guy will probably get an easy A next year with Halloween or with April Fools. One of the two, that's generally when these special edition units easy A. But right now, Dabura is pretty interesting. He's an Otherworld Warriors lead of 50%. He raises attack for 1 turn, and he'll raise attack and defense for 1 turn if there is a Paikuhan on the team. He will also lower the enemy's attack, which is also quite crucial to his passive. In terms of passive skill, he has attack and defense of 104%, with an additional attack and defense of 10% per superclass ally on the team. He gives all superclass allies 2 ki and attack and defense of 30%, and he has an additional defense of 104% when the target enemy is in attack down or defense down status. He also gets an additional attack of 104% when the target enemy is in attack down and defense down status. So they need to have both status effects for him to receive the attack boost, and they need to just have one status effect for him to receive the defensive boost. What this means is he's probably going to work best in game modes like SBR or ESBR, because you can actually perform attack down and defense down in those game modes. He recovers 10% HP at the end of turn, and you will recover HP with candy. In terms of his link skills, he has the Innocence, More Than Meets the Eye, Gentleman, Solid Support, Master of Magic, Otherworld Warriors, and Sharing the Limit. He also is on the Martian Boo Saga, Siblings Bond, and Otherworld Warriors. So he's not on a lot of categories. So best team for this guy for me is Otherworld Warriors. I think that's just generally where he looks the best. So we're going to be trying him on that team. And generally what you do want to do is you want to have the setup for him. So you want to have the debuffing, you want to have the ability to set up his full passive. I think that's really where you're going to see things kind of shine for this guy. He does share 4 links with Supreme Kai of Time, but he's not on Realm of the Gods, nor is he on anything else you can really run her on. So they don't really share any categories. The next best bet is going to be someone like Vardos or Toa. They're on the Siblings Bond category, so you can kind of run them together. You can also run them with Super Strike, Mighty Mask as well. So yeah, I'm running him on Otherworld Warriors, where he gets some links from Paikuhan, although not too many, but he does get some. But the big thing is that Paikuhan is going to buff him with his support capabilities, and he's also going to lower the attack and defense of the opposition. So this is very important because it's going to enable us to activate the full portion of Dabura's passive, which is where things will look a lot more interesting for Dabura as a unit. So that's really where you're going to shine, and that's really where Dabura is going to look very, very good. So here you can see 3.1 million, very, very solid for a unit that's not yet easy aid, and for a unit that honestly just doesn't have that many links active. The one good thing is that you can kind of couple his links from a couple places. Paikuhan, for example, shares Otherworld Warriors with him and Gentleman, which is generally pretty good links to share, the two of them giving the most big benefit. So linking him with Paikuhan, probably the best decision overall, and you can grab some other links from elsewhere. Maybe Shattering the Limit from another summonable unit, and generally speaking that should set you up to look pretty decent as a unit. Obviously it is difficult because he also thrives on being in a team that's mainly superclass, so his link set is still kind of orientated around that Master of Magic kind of link set that he generally has with other Dabura units. But he's very clearly orientated for a superclass team due to his design. So on that sense it can be quite difficult to run this guy, just in the sense that there's a lot of intricacies in activating all of his kind of passive. So yeah, beyond that, everything is pretty good. He looks really decent. I honestly think he's a pretty solid looking unit. I like that he has support capabilities. I think it really does lend to him being a nice unit to run. Not necessarily as a main unit like he is in this situation, but more so as a unit whereby he's going to be, you know, quite impressive as a floater. He's going to heal you for 10%, he's going to provide good support to the rest of the rotation, and yeah, just in general, he's going to be looking pretty damn good. Here we managed to get the support, so Dabura is again looking at that 120k mark, which is pretty good. He will raise his attack and defense on his turn as well, but you're going to see that attack stat drop down quite a bit, and that's because we didn't activate the full portion of his passive. So you can see how big a deal it is for him to have that full passive active. So that is obviously something very, very important. It's going to determine a lot of how good he looks offensively, which is why I say running him in a SBR team or an ESBR team is probably going to be where you see him thrive the most, because it's going to enable him to have those capabilities to really kind of set things up and, you know, essentially just cause a lot of mayhem, which I think for the most part is very good for a unit like Dabura. I think his debuffing, his healing, his supporting makes him a very interesting option for an SBR and ESBR team. Not to mention he can thrive a little bit more with the lower damage thresholds and that most units have. So I think for the most part I like where Dabura is sitting as a unit, with the perspective in mind that he's going to be running on a SBR based team. I do think he brings some good synergy to Otherworld Warriors. I think that category needs units like Dabura just to make it a bit more fun to play. Doesn't necessarily elevate it to the state where it's going to be like dominating, but it does kind of elevate it to the point where he's going to be sitting, I think, a lot better as a unit. So yeah, but other than that, I think Dabura looks great. I think he's got a lot going on for him. His EZA will be very interesting as to how they will adjust him. Obviously greatly raising attack and defense, more than likely. It'll be very interesting because units that heal, I think, are always interesting, especially percentage based healing. I think it's very good. 10% a nice amount to heal as well. So it is kind of looking like he's going to be a very, very solid support based unit for a super Otherworld Warriors team. Beyond that, I don't really think there's too much to say, so we'll talk about his links for a little bit and just discuss which units are best to run with him and what links to prioritize if you do want to run them. So obviously, with keeping in mind that he probably is going to run on an Otherworld Warriors team, he's got quite a few interesting links. Gentleman's pretty strong, Solid Sport's pretty decent, Otherworld Warriors you should be able to get, Shattering the Limit, also a fairly common link amongst free-to-play units. So those four, I would say, probably encompass the general consensus of links that I would say you can prioritize. In terms of link leveling, they gain quite a bit as well. Gentleman gives 10% defense, Solid Sport gives 5% extra attack, Otherworld Warriors will give you 10% more defense, and Sharing the Limit will give you 5% more attack and defense. So there is some incentive to look into link leveling Dabura, although right now, the way he's constructed, it's not going to elevate him to any major new level. You're not going to be pushing him into like some new stratosphere of performance. You will just be getting a generally better performing Dabura, which I think, isn't bad, but is kind of simple. So yeah, in terms of the rest, I think his best linking partner probably for the category is Paikuhan. You can link them between two of them and get a pretty decent mix. Most Paikuhan also have Gentleman, which helps them out a lot, and some of them will also have Otherworld Warrior, which also helps them out a lot. So there are definitely some good links to pick up with Paikuhan units, so I think there's definitely some incentive there. And then beyond that, you know, I think your options are relatively limited. I don't think he's got a lot of great options. Generally speaking, maybe you can run him on like a Majin Buu Saga team. You've got Mighty Mask there, who's got more than meets the eye and the innocence. You've got a couple Boos there that have Master of Magic. You've got a couple options there, but you don't have a crazy amount. And Majin Buu Saga's already kind of got decent synergy and decent synergistic supports. So yeah, generally there's not a crazy amount, but there is the option to obviously use him. It's not to say you can't, and you could still get some benefit out of running him on a category. So he can definitely run on Otherworld Warriors, he can definitely run on Majin Buu Saga, and I think Siblings Bond, you could also contemplate running him. But in the end of the day, you want to kind of get that unit super attack, which is why I think Otherworld Warriors is going to really be the best place for him to shine. At least for me, I think that'll be the best place for him to shine. But yeah, with that in mind, that is pretty much it. There's nothing else really to focus on. So yeah, that's going to be it when it comes to Dabura. I think overall he's a pretty good unit. Interested to see what his EZA does. I'd love to see where that goes. And I'd love to see what other units in future he's able to buff. Because really it's his buffing that's going to come in handy more so than anything else. Very similar to Paikuhan, the AGL Super Strike one, in that he doesn't have a lot of benefits beyond being just a good support to bring the elevation to other units. He'll be okay in his own right, more than usable, but he's going to really be there to elevate and kind of ensure functionality with other teams. But that's going to be it from me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.